All right. It's the last episode of the second season um, for The Mandalorian. It's episode 8 in season 2. First and foremost, I want to say the girl I've been calling UFC girl for the entirety of this season actually never fought in the UFC, but still got to give her respect because she's an OG in the game. she had she fought in two organizations that no longer exist, but I think she only had like one loss during her whole career. I think I mentioned earlier I went back and watched one of her fights with I think I can't remember who it was, but it was a name. I think it was like Cyborg or something like that. Pretty good, pretty good ground game. Striking really wasn't there, but it's pretty good ground game. Her jiu-jitsu is definitely there, or judo, or whatever you want to call it. Her ground game is there. From my limited knowledge of fighting. Okay, moving on. Now, the guy who plays the Mandalorian took his hat off, well, took his helmet off again. I'm like, I know that face. I know that face. See, the thing is, he's played some small roles in really big stuff. So, Narcos on Netflix, he plays a role in there. Apparently, he was in If Bill Street Could Talk, which is one of my favorite top 5 movies of all time, but don't remember him in there, but he was in there, apparently. Also, he played in Game of Thrones. So, his career is pretty much verified if you're asking me. Okay, and I have to admit something here. Don't get all up in an uproar about this, but I have to admit, fantastic last episode. They did. This is actually a really good episode. Okay, the last 3 or 4 episodes. So basically, the last half of the second season was actually pretty enjoyable. I have to admit, it's not all bad apparently. Well, I guess the reason it did so well was probably the action and the suspense put together, which made it better. Now, let me see if I can give an overview of this last episode. So, we're in a situation here where the Mandalorian is trying to regain possession of the baby, Baby Yoda, but it's not really Yoda. Whatever. He's trying to regain possession of him, and he has to go in there and he has to fight all these stormtroopers and these ultra elite dark troopers or whatever. They're all robots. Now, another thing, the music was corny for all the fight scenes and all the intense corny. Also, I know exactly where they pulled their inspiration from for these dark troopers. I see a little bit of RoboCop in there, and I see a little bit of the Terminator in there. It's undoubted. You can't. I grew up with those movies, so you can't. I can't not see those influences in there. But anyway, that doesn't necessarily diminish how scary they are, right? What else happens? Yeah, so they go in there. Nobody dies, which I think is unrealistic. I mean, nobody gets even hurt. Nobody really gets hurt. Well, throughout the whole series, there have been a people who have died. I could say that much, but for the most part, nobody really gets seriously injured, which I guess falls back in line to what you would come to expect from a Disney product. Okay, now that you got that out the way, so they're in there, they're doing their thing, they're fighting. Showing off. He's reunited with some Mandalorians who consider him to be crazy, but he considers them to be crazy, if that makes any sense. So he's reunited with those Mandalorians because they want to take possession of the ship and use it to recapture their homeland, and they still want to hold Gustavo Fring. They want to hold him. I'm not saying his name. I'm gonna keep calling him by his Breaking Bad character. Okay. Hey, there's nothing I can do about it. Well, there is. I just don't want to. So they want to hold him and torture him for information. I'm assuming it's pretty violent, especially with that new staff that he's acquired. The Mandalorian. It's just like a bow staff from Kung Fu or the Ninja Turtles. He's swinging that thing and he's doing a great job with it. I have to admit, almost makes me want to walk around one of those just to feel more confident, start practicing with it because it's pretty good fight scenes. It leads to pretty good fight scenes, I should say. So yeah, they wind up getting he winds up getting possession of him, and wouldn't you believe who shows up? They're doing this weird. It's just like the original Jedi from like the first movie, but they use this weird like video game CGI type stuff to recreate his younger face. Of course, he comes in and just wrecks all these robots. I mean, the Mandalorian barely took out one by himself, and they're having threat of like 30, 40 of them or something like that. I didn't really count all of them individually, but they're threatening. That's the threat, and for some reason they stop and they wait to take on this challenge of this Jedi, and he just decimates all of them. Oh boy, you know what? And it was almost I almost shed a tear. If you believe it or not, I almost shed a little itty bitty baby tear out this dang eye duct. Where's eye duct right here? One of the places, you know what I mean? I almost cried, goddamn it, because the Mandalorian had to say goodbye to the little one. How could you not? How did you not get sentimental with that? Even though it's been a pretty bad experience as far as like dialogue and character development, but that's just me nitpicking. I still think it's a decent watch for the audience is intended for. I believe. I don't think this was intended for hardcore viewing pleasure. I think this is intended for family time. It's not a Netflix and chill, although you wouldn't really be watching it if you were Netflix. Anyway, you know what I mean. It's not intended for a mature audience, although a mature audience can enjoy it. I think it's geared towards a family experience, which is why I think that's its lane. I have to admit that it's its lane. I've been ragging it for probably there like 4 or 5 episodes. I think I lost it at like the 3rd or 4th episode in this season. Like, I can't do this anymore. I almost gave up, but I pushed through. This is a victory for me. Yay. Good last episode. I think the last 3 or 4 episodes have been pretty good. It's really good. I've been anticipating to see what's going to happen, but of course nobody really gets injured, nobody gets hurt. Everything pretty much falls into place, and you get to see a lot of decent action, and in some cases better than decent action. So I'll give them that, and of course I'll say it again. I'll give them the setting, and I'll give them some of the fight scenes, and now I give them the continuation effect. Just making up words now. I'll give them the fact that they were able to tie in at least the last 3 to 4 episodes, because the rest of the stuff is go to a new planet, figure out what the issue is, kill everything, leave that planet, repeat. That's all they were doing for about 4 or 5 episodes in the season. They pretty much did the same thing all the way up to the end, but they started changing from planet to ship to groups of people, and they had some people come back in, characters come back in that were still alive from previous episodes, which is what it is. So I think I made a statement earlier that I probably would not be, well, I'm not anticipating the next season of this. If and when it ever comes up, maybe, but I don't even think I want to. But whatever. If you like me whining about the Mandalorian, I've now completed all 2 seasons that are available. I've also got The Wire I'm still doing. I'm doing Futurama. I've got Breaking Bad, and I've got multiple movies that I've done reactions to. So go check those out.